I never thought my life would change in an instant. One moment I was just me, a worship leader, a singer who loved leading people into God's presence. The next moment, everything I knew was gone. Since I was young, I had loved music. Singing in church, playing instruments, leading people in worship, it felt like my purpose. I wasn't famous, but I was passionate. Worship wasn't just music to me, it was a way to connect with God. I believed I understood it, but I was wrong. That day started like any other. I woke up, went about my usual routine, and had no idea that by the end of it, I would be facing death. I had plans, dreams, and things to do. But death doesn't ask for permission. Comes when it comes. One moment I was driving. The next, everything blurred. A flash of light. A terrible impact. And then, silence. I should have been gone. But I wasn't. I was still there, just not in my body. I saw my car. It was wrecked. Twisted metal. Shattered glass. It didn't seem real. And there I was, lying inside, motionless. But how could I be inside and outside at the same time? People gathered. Then came the paramedics. They rushed to my body, checking for signs of life. I saw them press their hands against my chest. They were shouting something, moving fast. But I felt nothing. I wasn't in pain. I wasn't scared. Just watched. And then, something strange happened. The peace, unlike anything I had ever known, covered me. No fear. No worry. Just peace. Like I was being held by something greater than myself. Something, or someone. That was when I realized I wasn't alone. As I stood there, outside my own body, I became aware of something, or someone, beside me. I couldn't see him at first, but I could feel him. A presence so powerful yet so gentle. It wasn't just warmth or light. It was a person. Then I turned, and I saw Jesus. His eyes met mine, and in that instant, I knew he saw everything. Every moment of my life, every thought I had ever had, every failure, every doubt. Yet there was no judgment in his gaze, only love. A love so pure, so deep, that it pulled me in like a tide. I couldn't speak. What could I say to the one who knew me better than I knew myself? But he wasn't angry. He wasn't disappointed. He just looked at me, and in that look, I felt more seen, more understood than ever before. Then he spoke, not with words, but straight into my soul. Let me show you. And suddenly, everything changed. We were no longer standing by the crash. We were somewhere else, somewhere beyond time. It was like a vast room, filled with windows looking down on the world. Through them I could see churches. Different places of worship. Some big, some small. Some filled with thousands of people, others with just a few. I realized I was seeing worship from heaven's perspective. At first, I saw what I expected. People singing, lifting their hands, playing instruments, crying out to God. But then, Jesus showed me something deeper. Some voices rose like golden light, reaching heaven like sweet incense. But others fell flat, never leaving the room. Some people sang with their mouths, but their hearts were far away. Their worship looked beautiful on the outside, but in the spiritual realm, it was empty. I saw people lost in his presence, truly worshiping. But I also saw people performing, for the crowd, for themselves. I saw those who worshipped with love, and those who worshipped out of habit. Then I noticed something that shook me. In some churches, there were dark shadows moving through the congregation, whispers of distraction, pride, competition. Some worship leaders were more concerned with their image than with God's presence. Some sang words they didn't mean. Some hearts were divided between worshiping God and seeking applause. I looked at Jesus. His face was full of sorrow, not anger. "This is not what I created worship to be," he said. As I stood beside Jesus, watching worship services unfold, he revealed to me something I had never seen before, a hidden battle taking place beyond human sight. Dark entities moved through some congregations, unseen but active. They whispered distractions into minds, stirred pride in hearts, and shifted focus away from God. I saw worship leaders battling thoughts of self-doubt, comparison, and the pressure to impress. Some resisted, pressing into true worship. Others unknowingly gave in, letting their attention drift from God to their own image. He revealed to me how this battle had been going on for years, how slowly, little by little, worship in many places had changed. It wasn't an obvious change. It wasn't sudden. But over time, something had shifted. Songs were still being sung. Hands were still being lifted. But in some places, the heart of worship had been replaced with something else. A desire to please people. A longing for perfection. A hunger for recognition. What once was pure had become polished. What once was intimate had become routine. He revealed to me that not all worship is accepted in heaven. Some people thought they were worshiping, but in reality, they were only performing. The lights, the sound, the perfect harmonies, none of it mattered if the heart was far from God. In some places, people were more concerned with how they sounded than whom they were singing to. Worship teams spent hours perfecting their music but minutes preparing their hearts. And in the spiritual realm, it showed. Their songs had no weight. Their worship had no life. He revealed to me that in many churches, worship planning had become more about production than prayer. Schedules, set lists, stage designs, these had taken priority over seeking God's presence. People discussed what would sound best, but rarely asked what would please God most. In some places, worship had become about creating an experience rather than encountering God. And while people were moved emotionally, heaven remained unmoved. Then he revealed to me something heartbreaking. In some churches, worship had become entertainment. People came expecting to be impressed, not transformed. Worship teams felt pressure to keep people engaged rather than lead them into God's presence. Some had forgotten that worship was never about them, it was about Him. As I watched, I felt the weight of this reality. How had we gotten here? How had something so sacred become so staged? Then I turned to Jesus, searching His face. He wasn't angry. He wasn't condemning. But there was sorrow in His eyes. Because worship was meant to be more. Much more. He revealed to me something I had never deeply considered before, Lucifer's original place in heaven. Before his fall, he wasn't just an angel, he was the leader of worship. His very being was designed to glorify God. Music flowed through him. Worship radiated from him. He was once a reflection of divine beauty and harmony. But something changed. He revealed to me that pride was the seed of Lucifer's downfall. He no longer wanted to direct worship to God. He wanted it for himself. What was meant to exalt the Creator became a tool to exalt himself. He saw His beauty, His sound, His influence, and he desired more. And so he fell. Heaven mourned. The one who once led worship was now cast out, separated from the presence of the very God he once glorified. But he didn't stop there. He revealed to me that Satan still desires worship, and he still uses the same tactics. He no longer leads in heaven, so he works to corrupt worship on earth. He whispers to those on the platform, tempting them with thoughts of recognition, self-importance, and comparison. He convinces musicians and singers that their skill defines their worth. He stirs jealousy, competition, and division. What led to his fall in heaven? Pride. He now plants in the hearts of worshipers on earth. And many don't even see it happening. He revealed to me that the very tools designed to enhance worship are now being used to hinder it. Satan knows he can't stop worship entirely, so instead, he distorts it. He redirects attention away from God by making people obsess over the tools rather than the purpose. He revealed to me that technology, though a gift, has become a weapon. Instead of leading people into God's presence, it often pulls them away. Worship teams worry more about perfecting a sound mix than preparing their hearts. Congregations focus on the screen instead of surrendering in worship. And in some places, if the lights, the effects, or the sound system fail, so does the worship. What was meant to be a tool has become a crutch. Then he revealed to me something even more shocking. The spiritual realm is not silent during worship. Sound and lighting are not neutral. They can either amplify God's presence or become a stage for distraction. Satan knows how music moves people. He once used it to glorify God. Now, he uses it to shift attention away from Him. Flashing lights, overwhelming effects, and emotionally charged moments can create an illusion of worship without true surrender. He revealed to me that the greatest worship does not come from the best production but from the purest hearts. Worship that pleases God is not about the perfect atmosphere. It's about true reverence. And in that moment, I understood. Satan lost his place as heaven's worship leader, but he still fights to control worship on earth. The question is, will we let him? He revealed to me that many who gather for worship have unknowingly become spectators. Instead of hearts poured out before God, there are eyes scanning the room, watching others. Instead of voices lifted in surrender, there is silent observation. He showed me that in some churches, the stage has become a performance space rather than an altar. People come expecting to be moved rather than expecting to move toward God. They judge the singers, the musicians, the atmosphere, forgetting that worship is not for them but for Him. He revealed to me that true worship is never passive. It demands engagement. It demands surrender. Worship is not something we watch. It is something we live. He revealed to me that many have mistaken emotional experiences for true worship. Hands are raised, tears are shed, voices cry out. But once the music stops, nothing changes. He showed me that worship was never meant to be just a moment of feeling. It was meant to bring transformation. True worship does not just move emotions. It renews hearts, convicts souls, and brings people into deeper obedience. But he also showed me the danger. When people chase the feeling rather than the Father, they leave unchanged. They seek an experience, not an encounter. And Satan is content with that. Because as long as worship stays on the surface, it never reaches the heart. He revealed to me that in this age, worship has become something to be displayed rather than something to be lived. Cameras capture that perfect worship moment. Videos are posted, not to glorify God, but to showcase skill, emotion, or style. He showed me how easily the heart shifts, from worshiping in secret to worshiping for attention, from longing for God's presence to longing for people's approval. He revealed to me that social media has turned worship into content. And in some places, the goal is no longer to lead people into God's presence. It is to go viral. He made it clear, true worship is not about appearance. It is not about performance. It is not about impressing people. Worship belongs to God alone. And when it is given to anything or anyone else, no matter how subtle, it is no longer worship, it is idolatry. He revealed to me that success in worship ministry can become a trap. What begins as a heart surrendered to serve can slowly turn into a desire for recognition. The more people praise, the more the heart desires it. The more invitations come, the more it feels like a sign of God's favor, until success becomes the measure of calling. He showed me that many worship leaders started with pure hearts but were later entangled by the very platform they stood on. When numbers, applause, and influence become the focus, the true purpose of worship is lost. He made it clear, a worship leader is not called to be successful but to be faithful. He revealed to me that worship leaders are meant to serve, not to be served. But in many places, the role has shifted. Some now see themselves as artists rather than servants, performers rather than intercessors. He showed me how some worship leaders are treated like celebrities, separated from the people, unreachable, and celebrated for their talent rather than their heart for God. And he grieved, because worship was never meant to exalt man. He made it clear, worship leaders are not stars. They are servants. And the moment worship becomes about personal glory, it ceases to be worship at all. He revealed to me that worship music has become an industry, one that often prioritizes sales over sincerity. Many songs are written with the goal of being marketable rather than ministering to hearts. Instead of seeking heaven's sound, writers now ask, will this song go viral? He made it clear, true worship is not about popularity. It is not about streams, downloads, or charts. Worship was never meant to be a business. It was meant to be an offering. He showed me that what people sing, they begin to believe. Worship songs have the power to shape theology even more than sermons because melodies stay in the heart. But if the lyrics are shallow, the faith of those who sing them becomes shallow too. He revealed how many songs today focus more on feelings than on truth. Instead of declaring who He is, they revolve around what we feel. Instead of anchoring people in the Word, they keep them floating on emotion. He made it clear, worship must be rooted in truth. If a song does not align with Scripture, no matter how beautiful it sounds, it cannot carry His presence. He revealed to me that many worship songs are now designed to stir emotions but lack spiritual depth. Simple phrases are repeated again and again, but they do not reveal the fullness of who He is. He showed me how some lyrics are so vague that they could be sung to anyone, not just to Him. Many songs rarely mention His holiness, His righteousness, or His call to surrender. Instead, they focus on personal breakthroughs, blessings, and victories. He made it clear, worship is not about what we get from Him but about giving Him what He deserves. He revealed to me that in many small churches, worship is not treated as a performance but as a sacred duty. The leaders prepare not by rehearsing for perfection but by praying for His presence. Their focus is not on impressing people but on touching heaven. He made it clear, the power of worship does not come from the size of the congregation but from the sincerity of the hearts that seek Him. He showed me how, in these humble gatherings, angels join in worship. They move among the people, lifting prayers, strengthening voices, and warring against the enemy's interference. He made it clear, when worship is pure, heaven responds. It is not the sound quality that attracts Him but the purity of devotion. He took me into a place beyond words, a room filled with worship unlike anything on earth. There were no stages, no microphones, no distractions, only complete adoration of Him. Every voice was united, every heart fully surrendered. He made it clear, worship in heaven is not about talent, but total surrender. He revealed to me that Satan cannot stand genuine worship because it is what he lost. He was once heaven's worship leader, but his pride led to his fall. Now, he seeks to corrupt worship on earth, turning it into something shallow and self-centered. He showed me how true worship is a weapon. When people worship in spirit and truth, darkness trembles. Chains break. Demons flee. The enemy cannot stand where true worship is lifted. He made it clear, worship is more than a song, it is a battle cry. He revealed that when worship is pure, it brings healing. The broken are restored, the weary are strengthened, and those bound in sin are set free. His presence moves in ways no human effort ever could. He made it clear, worship is not about creating a moment, it is about bringing transformation. Immediately I woke up in the hospital. Alright friends, this brings us to the end of today's experience. Kindly like and share this video with your friends and families. Kindly subscribe to our channel and turn on your notification bell icon to be the first to get updated anytime we upload a new experience sent to us. Remain blessed.